Oh,
Yeah, pretty
yeah.
much
Okay.
everything Andrew will share today will be life-changing for anyone that's used to using components because now you don't have to go through the setup process of components. It's just setting
Yeah.
up base widgets and everything.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
excited.
Setting up base widgets, stylizing, and then implementing that. So you can also do it. You can apply it to some of our templates and stuff as well. So uh, I had a designer friend come up with this sort of podcast design app, Flow, and how easy it is. So I felt like there was some good variation here. We have a home screen, has a horizontal scroll and vertical. We have some cards here. We have some more cards here, custom inputs, um, tab bars, custom icons. We're going to implement all of this. So down here, we'll add some custom styles into our Flutterflow app. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this really small, bring it over here, and that way I can showcase Flutterflow. So I created a new project here. It's blank. All right, we're going to do blank slate. Um, and I'm going to go to our new theme settings. Okay, very important to know. Themes have moved from settings into this wonderful icon, right? Just beautiful icon here. And we have our design systems where we're able to create design systems from this theme or change them. We are updating our Explore Themes page. We have 13 new themes coming. So we have 6 currently. I don't know if anybody has ever um, worked on this Explore Themes or utilized this Explore Themes, right? But we are updating the themes here. We have 13 new themes coming. So if you're just building an app for fun, hopefully you can start with a better base. We have 16 default colors. And again, this doesn't benefit a lot of people. It benefits me when I create those themes. I can now create more robust themes for you that look good on multiple screens. So this is a lot of fun for me. You can still add custom colors, all that good stuff. You can import themes from Figma, do all of those things. But really, what we're going to focus on is this widget styling, right? So over here in our Figma, we have a login screen. We have a few different things here that we would have to style individually, maybe copy and paste a few things before. And what we're going to do is we're just going to create these as default widgets within Flutterflow. So I'm going to do this default text field, and we're going to do this. We'll create that. We get this little canvas here where we can just stylize a single widget. We'll do an outline. Our border color, we'll do alternate. Focus, I'll do primary. Error, we have this new warning, error, and success colors. We have semantic colors now. Um, yeah, maybe I'll go over those actually. So we added, right? We have brand colors, utility colors. This is where your primary, secondary text, primary, secondary background are. We have accent colors. These are just colors you can utilize within your app. Okay, so again, if you have custom colors, feel free to use those. This is just for when I utilize templates, when I create templates and stuff. I'm going to utilize these colors in this way. So when you bring in a template to your project and you say use theme colors, this is how I'm setting up all the templates. So I have 3 brand colors, and then my 4th color is what I use for my line color. It's just like a neutral that I use to separate content. I'm going to utilize it on this input on these secondary buttons. My accent 4 is my overlay, right? So those are things that just will always remain true. There are things I utilize in my application at all times. And then same thing with semantic colors. I have 3, right, that I'll use: success, error, warning. Um, the warning for me personally, it's like maybe it's my 4th brand color or something, right? We can utilize it how we want. It can be in something like yellow, orange, purpley, whatever you want there. My info would be the text that is on top of this. So for me, I'm going to make that white at all times, light and dark mode, right? I'm going to use this info color for my button color, my primary button color. And within typography and icons, we are now providing 15 default font styles. So this is a huge improvement. We had 7 before. It was very constraining. Um, you'd always have to like drag text in and maybe change it and do all this fun stuff. Now you can pretty much, the way I'm setting this up, we're following material design guidelines for their 15 styles. So we have body, large, medium, small. Same thing with label, title, headline, and display. Display, utilize them how you want. This will be my desktop stuff that I'll utilize. Or like if I have a dashboard, these would be like my large numbers that I showcase. The way I'm utilizing body is I'm doing 12, 14, 16 on mobile. These are standard font sizes that I use. And I'm doing my body ones all primary text. And I'm doing my labels, same sizes, but I'm doing them my secondary text. So this is what I'm going to utilize for placeholders or labels on inputs. I'll utilize it for subtext here, right? I'm going to use it for more than just like a label, a traditional label. And then also for these titles, and again, this is how I'm using them. You don't have to utilize them this way, but from my extensive building and designing products for the last 10 years, I've found these are things that I constantly use. We set them up in Figma similar to this, right? We have primary and secondary text, and then we have like white text. So as you can see, these title small and title medium, I'm drawing that info text. So these are going to be my button texts. So when I create my theme widgets here, when I create my buttons, I'm just going to utilize that info and it's just going to remain white and it's going to be on my primary background, right? So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to say primary button small.
And Andrew, one thing we might consider doing, given what you just explained, I think it'd be really valuable to explain everything that you just laid out in a blog. So maybe we can put that together.
Dude, yeah, yeah.
That way, anyone that has questions about best practices for colors or is getting started with Flutterflow knows, okay, probably should utilize the accents maybe for border colors or things like that, right?
Yep.
There's a bunch of things. So I think that'd be
I'm
maybe something we can work together on and put out
I'm a
there.
big fan of that. I'm a
Nice.
big fan of that. Yeah. Let's do it. I wanted to do like this live stream, maybe a YouTube video where I just explain that as well. Maybe I'll just shorten this one. I don't know. But yeah, a blog post would be solid. So because these are all things like as I said, like maybe they don't matter to you, but as I'm building out templates, these colors, this is how I'm going to use those colors. So if you use an alternate as like a fourth brand color and it's like red or something, like when you drag in a template and say use my theme, just know it's gonna be weird, right? You're gonna have red on your line colors. So again, uh, yeah, I hope that helps. I don't know how many of you guys use templates. I use them all the time. I'm gonna use them now. I'm gonna create this app and utilize a login template, but I'm gonna create some of my default widgets here. Um, or here, I'm just gonna duplicate. This is the amazing thing. You can just duplicate this, right? I've already set like my border radius here. I'm gonna set this to my secondary button, small, and I'm gonna do my border color alternate. This one, I'll do primary or secondary background. And then we want to change this text to uh, body medium here. Cool. We do not need an elevation. Let's go ahead and set our hover style as well, right? We have that. Do that. We'll do the border radius there. Text icon. Maybe we change it to our primary. Yeah, let's do that. Cool. And that's our secondary. And then we'll just copy and paste that. I'm just going to do medium here. And again, this is sort of how I would name stuff in my design files, like secondary button, BTN. So you don't have to do this again, but if you want to, please do. Please do. Okay.
While you're building that, Michael had a great question. So,
Yep.
does this new system enable the same app for 5 different clients? Does this enable you to build the same app for 5 different clients with each
Oh,
of their own styles completely, right? This is
Yep.
key, because imagine you create one app, utilize the theme styles, then all it would take is you to duplicate that app in your Flutterflow account and just go back to the theme settings, change the theme colors, maybe the fonts, and then you can adjust border radiuses of buttons, anything you need, right? And it will look like a completely different application, but all the core fundamental features are still there. So this is massive for any agencies for sure.
It is massive for design systems in general. Like any design system, it's huge, right? Like we have UI kits, right? If you want to build a UI kit in Flutterflow, I think somebody mentioned that on Twitter. They're like, "Oh, I want to learn how to build UI kits in Flutterflow." This allows you to do that. Whereas before, it was very hacky. You had to sort of build in components, and even then, it wasn't really great. You can still build components, right? You can still build components, but this allows you to stylize sort of the parents, right? Just like Michael said, like, what he built was a wrapper. Well, these are wrappers, containers, right? We're going to build some containers here. Containers are wrappers that you put components in, or you stylize in the component themselves. So these are like, if you're familiar with atomic design, these would be your atoms. Components would be your molecules, right? Where you provide different or additional elements, a different additional atoms within, uh, yeah, within to make it a molecule. So, all right, one.
And when is this functionality going live? Andrew, I
Yep.
believe this week, maybe next week.
I think no, no, no. I think it is this week. We were just talking
Nice.
to yeah, it is. I'm doing the email marketing graphics today.
Very
So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
nice.
It's gonna be really fun. Gonna do that. So this is you guys, yeah. And I utilize containers like this all the time, right? So 16 pixels on the side, 12, 8 pixels padding on the top. I do this constantly. So when I drag stuff into a list view, I'm always doing this. So I can just stylize it. It's going to retain this padding and width. So again, infinity width, it can cause layout problems. So just be aware, right? We can maybe set like a max width here, which would help. Um, but it's going to be like, it may cause layout problems if you set infinity width. You can just stylize the component itself. Okay, and I'll just do, actually, why am I going to restylize that? That's stupid. Just duplicate it. Come on. I want like a second, I want an elevation 2, maybe an elevation 3. We can utilize for modals. That's great.
Michael, that's a
And
great question. Can you override individual properties? Yes. So Andrew will show you
perfect.
that
Yep.
in just a moment. This is just the
Yep.
beginning. Designing these theme widgets, he
Yep.
hasn't even shown you the actual like implementation of them. So
Yeah.
just watch how fantastic we've really planned for two different use cases, or even then more, potentially more than that, right?
Yep.
So we'll show you that in just a moment.
Yeah. And I'll do this. I'll do 150 here, and that's medium. So here, that way this will match the design. I'm also going to update this color, right? So I have a primary green instead of blue here. So let's just copy that over. And again, I could import the colors from Figma if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that. And again, like these 3 brand colors I'm using in a lot of my designs, I've realized that I use these opacitated version of the primary color. And again, you can utilize them however you want. You can make it a darker version if you needed like a border uh, or like a bottom border on buttons and stuff. If you wanted to make it look a little 3D, you could do that. I utilize this quite often. So this is how I set up my 3 brand colors, my alternate 3 brand colors. So cool. So we did spend some time, right? Built out some theme widgets. We have our primary input, some containers here, our buttons that we're going to utilize. And now we can just, let's go ahead and add a page. Oh, yeah, we're going to add a page. I'm going to create a blank. I can use a template because I'm in the process of creating new templates over here that I'm just going to copy and paste. So, all right, cool. As you can see, these inputs, they sort of suck. They don't really match. This text, I probably need to update to, let's do our label large. I'll just come over here and do default text. Oh, there it is. Oh my gosh, it's like right there. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, like I didn't have to do anything. As you can see, we do have some spacing issue here. So what I can do is I can just come back over here, right? Let's keep consistent spacing. I could override it in the panel itself, right? Let's do 16, 12, and 16 again. And we'll just see that updated here. Perfect. We're going to do our button medium here. We're going to wrap this little guy in a row. We're going to add 16 pixels here and here. Go ahead and do 16 top. And duplicate this little guy, and I'm going to make this button medium. Ooh, those are different sizes. Let's go back to our theme, and let's adjust that. This one should be 50 to match. Oh, and the wonderful thing about this is I set a width on these. You don't have to set a width on these. You could just set the padding, and they would grow. Create account. I think this is, yeah. Okay. This one, space in between. Okay. Back over here. And this is where we're going to manage all of those styles, right? Those updates here. I think that works. Good.
So what you just showed to anyone that's just joining, right? So we have the new theme settings, and you can create kind of core components or widgets, not components, I guess, core widgets that you can utilize, or
Yep.
themes for your different widgets. So in this case, Andrew went ahead and designed an input and button and container, and you can see that right here. And you can edit those as kind of a default version and then utilize that throughout your application. And Andrew, I think you only showcased so far just the ability to drag an item in and then select it, right? But there is another option too, correct? To drag
Oh yeah.
those right
Yeah.
in. I think,
Yep.
yeah. I mean that
I'll do
even
that.
alone, right, is
I'll do that as
awesome.
well. Yeah, I
Nice,
agree. I think it's excellent. I'm gonna do some freestyling here as well.
nice.
So that because I use labels a lot. I don't traditionally use just hint text. So I'll do that. And then this is that override here. Um,
Nice.
Michael, we can do password, right? Before you could do this within a component, you could stylize like an input or a text field within a component, but you couldn't access any of this stuff. Like you could change the text, but you couldn't say, oh, maybe I want this to be, an underline instead, or maybe I want the keyboard to be a password, right? So like we have visible password here,
Nice.
sentences, that's fine. We want this to be a password field, right? We couldn't do any of that before. We just had we'll just make this a text. Yeah, we just had the ability to sort of create it once, and then if you wanted input for text, email, phone, uh, password, you had to create 4 different components. Now we're just adjusting the styles here. We're able to override everything, and then once we make an update, right? Once we make an update to the parent, it'll update everything. So if I wanted to change the background color of this instead of an outline, I wanted to change it to let's say filled, and our primary background. Okay, that's going to look different on our page. And now we've adjusted it, and it carries through to our page. Oh, this is great. Um, yeah, I think this is great. As a designer, I'm thrilled, but also as somebody who's like very passionate about how we carry through products, how we create products for clients, individuals, delivery, right? For ourselves as well. Like if we can optimize that workflow, it's really going to improve how fast we can deliver stuff and how excellent it is in the end. So I'm going to do this. again, I'm just gonna like expand this guy, expand that. Maybe I'll change this guy to our button small. Let's do that. Go, forgot password. Cool. All right, do that. Drag that up there. And now we'll do our home page. So if we come over here, we have a little image up here. Let's go ahead and do that. Drag our image in. I'll do 32, 2. It's like 4. I have to really hack this. I want a circle image up here, and it's not going to work. Okay, cool. Go ahead and do
Can
it.
you wrap it in a row first?
Wrap it in a row. I could wrap it. I'm also going to wrap it in a container so that I can get that border.
I know the app bar is a little tricky sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always fun, right? Cool.
Yes, Michael, it definitely does save so much copying and pasting. Yes, copying, pasting, not only that, but like having to go through and check, okay, are all my containers, do they all have 12 padding on the right and left side? Do they all have
Yep.
16? Like whatever you're utilizing there. This way you can set it and forget it ideally, right? And then if you ever need to change your entire platform, you just go back to the base widget or whatever it may be.
Yep.
So it definitely helps for long-term scaling.
And I mean, long-term scaling is the thing, right? Design systems in and of itself, like you really couldn't do this before. You could stylize like your elements, right? And you could have like a sample app, right? It could be pre-designed. But if you wanted to change stuff, like there was no way to change all of the inputs, all of the buttons. Now you do. You have that ability. Uh, so I'm expecting a lot of UI kits, a lot of design systems being built. Um, I'll launch a few when we launch this later today. So that's what I'll be working on. Beyond the graphics, I'll work on a few. I have them in some of the themes. So yeah. Thanks for managing the comments, Will. This is really helpful. I'll just
Yeah.
keep building and hopefully this is beneficial to y'all. So
Yeah, this is awesome. You want to show the drag and drop of the
oh yeah.
some of
Yeah.
the
I will.
widgets? This was crazy this morning to me when I started diving deeper into the theme settings, and I think it's great on one hand because I was so used to using components, but the first time I realized that like not only do I have the option to add like a skin or a theme to components already or widgets already on my page, but I could actually find those in my widget like
Yeah.
explorer or section on the left side and just drag them into the page. That was like mind blowing to me from a feature
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah, so as you can see,
Yeah.
we have these widgets here, right? Default ones, we have components, and then we have templates that I'll utilize at some point. But then we have our default styles. So we have our primary one, we can just drag that in here, and it retains sort of the padding and everything. So we're good to go there. Maybe we want to change it to our primary two, right? These cards look a little bit like primary two. Yeah, let's do that. And then we'll just adjust it. We probably have this size. Well, I'll just add a column. I like to have these sort of float or like be flexible in their size. So I'm just going to add some padding here.
Nice.
We'll start creating this guy.
I like the play on icons too. I don't know if it was intentional or not with the Flutter icon logo for the
Hey,
widgets and then the Flutterflow logo for like the pre-built kind of themed widgets. I think that's pretty smart and a nice like play on
yeah,
branding, play on words there.
yeah. It is it is nice. I really enjoy it.
Nice.
And it is something that we unlock, right? You could probably do this in Flutter at some point, but it's way harder. This sort of cuts down that time drastically, right? Oh, I love it. Big fan. Cool. I'm just gonna drag in this. I have this default icon as well. I mean, come on, like this default icon, like you can just drag it in, right? We have icons, no problem. But still, as I said last week, like if I tried to drag this icon to this page before, it would have taken me 30 seconds. Now I can talk to you guys about how cool this is instead of actually stylizing the icon. Cool. 30 seconds is up. We're back to it. And episode, we're good there. What I'm going to do is add some text in here. And you can also stylize text, right? So like in our default widgets here, we could stylize text. So and I was like, whoa, do we actually need this? Like, do we really need this? We have like theme styles. So like, why do we need this? I'll show you why we need this. So let's say body text. Oh, yeah, again, I was just like, I don't know. We could probably do without it, but it is sort of beneficial. I'm going to do 12 pixel padding on top. Default text like description here. Or let's just, you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's do lorem ipsum. Phenomenal. Let's do that, right? And let's go ahead and do 8 pixels on the bottom. This will be great. Oh, especially for gradient text. If you have gradient text, right, you can just create that and then you can drag that in. You don't have to set up the gradient every time. So now we can just come up here. We'll just do text body spacing. Excellent. I'm going to just remove this height so that it grows. And right there, we have padding and lorem ipsum. So don't use lorem ipsum. I know we need to utilize ChatGPT to create actual content for this page, but for now, just live with me and let's be old school, okay? Everything's going so fast. We need to slow down a little bit. So we're going to use lorem ipsum instead of ChatGPT generated text. Cool. All right. So we have that. Let's go ahead and come back up and build this little guy here. In order to do that, I'm going to drag a container up here. We're going to make it span 100%. We're going to do it, I think, like 190. Here we have secondary background. Okay. Let's make it our primary background. 197. Yeah. Okay, so we'll just do this 200. Oh, we're going to do a list view here. We're going to make it horizontal. Shrink wrap. We'll make it primary so it can scroll. I'll just do a regular container. I don't necessarily want a drop shadow on this. There is no drop shadow. So we're going to do 16 here. Make this like 150, I think. Maybe 160.
Manny, to access that floating window that Andrew has, if you click next to the zoom buttons in that purple, yeah, there we go, right?
There's two
So that
ways.
toggle it on, and you can drag that in. So,
Yep, two ways to do it.
yeah.
We're working on optimizing it. We're giving you like 4 different ways to do this thing. So, but you can, if you're not on the widget builder, right? If you're on the widget builder and you tap Command F, you're going to search for a widget. Okay. If you're on the pages and widgetry view and you tap Command F, you'll get this little floating menu. I prefer that. I really like that. It provides me the ability to always look at my pages and widget tree and then also drag stuff in. And even on a smaller screen like this that I'm building on, there's enough room to the side of the canvas that I can put it here. At some point, maybe we'll be able to drag this canvas over here, and then I could be even on a smaller screen because there wouldn't be all this dead space here. Anyways, little things. Cool. Do this. So just drag that. Have to like find a podcast image.
If you're just joining us, we are reviewing the new theme settings for Flutterflow. So Andrew and the rest of the team have been working very hard on the new theme settings. Essentially, it'll be a different part of the sidebar. You can see a new icon there on the left, and that includes new font styles, a new color viewer with multitude of new colors, accent
Yeah.
styles, air, accept colors, all sorts of things. You can see that, right? The font styles listed there when you're selecting them. Ton of design improvements throughout Flutterflow. And one of the key things is the actual ability to create themed widgets, which you can utilize in Flutterflow now. So instead of creating components as you had to do in the past, you could create a blue button with rounded corners and use that wherever you want in the application by applying that theme style to a button or just dragging it directly onto the page. And that goes for most of the widgets available in Flutterflow. So extremely powerful tool. You can see that here. And so
Glad,
Andrew's building live for us with a design to showcase the power of the new theme settings.
yeah, we'll just create this. Do like I think 44, 24. We'll make it so it doesn't break. Uh,
Nice.
Play icon, and we'll make that our informational, right? It'll always stay white. That's good. Maybe on our button hover state, we'll do it our accent 2. That works. Cool. 44, yeah. Awesome. And then we also have this star one. So I think what we're gonna have to do though is we're gonna have to create a component or a container and then an icon or a toggle icon, because we wanted to actually change that. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll wrap this guy in a column. We'll add this little text in a column. We'll wrap this in a row. Then we'll add a little column in here, or a little container. We'll make it a little circle. Button icons in Flutter, right? It's not even a Flutterflow problem. It's just in Flutter in general. So like the default button icon scales really weird when you go small. So what I typically do is just create a container. And again, that's just the game that we play, right? We can do this one as primary background.
When will this be available? Great question, Thomas. This will be available hopefully this week for all Flutterflow users. So something you can take advantage of right away, hopefully by the end of the month.
Yeah. I was telling Will, I'm actually designing the email graphics for this feature today. So should be out at some point soon. And I know we said that last week, but it's actually true this week. So we implemented some more stuff. I actually asked them to implement. I told you there were some updates to these colors, right? This is very different than what we had before. So this is one of the things we went through user testing last week, tried to fix a lot of the bugs. So, hopefully we worked a bunch of stuff out so that you guys can actually build without any bugs. Hopefully. That's the plan, right? So cool. Just we'll make this a component, right? That's what we want. Songs. Cover. Okay. And then when that happens, we just want to remove the height here. And we'll do that. No.
Andrew, you've got some praise in the chat from Manny. He was the one that asked last week, where's the best place to start and get resources if you're just starting Flutterflow? And he said he took your advice from the previous live stream and started exploring the marketplace. And it has truly been game changing for learning the different things about Flutterflow and database modeling also. So that's
So
awesome
glad.
to see.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Our community is really great. And there are just some wonderful examples. I mean, Will's built stuff, Michael's built stuff. Yeah, a lot of our community in Latin America as well. They're just amazing. The stuff they build is absolutely awesome. So yeah, I really like that feature. We are improving it constantly. So it's gonna come where it does get improved, where we can actually purchase things, right? You can design themes and sell themes, right? That's like a marketplace 2.5 maybe. But the idea would be that designers could come in, set up design systems within here, and then be able to hand those off to developers, right? Like UI kits and everything. So again, the possibilities are endless. Yeah, let's go ahead and we will turn on our nav bar here. Let's do that. Let's like duplicate this page. We'll do search. We have some custom icons here. The power of custom icons is so much fun. Oh, this one's our search page actually. Show on nav bar. Ah, love it. Okay, cool.
Nice. Another question. How do you know when conditional actions with more than two branches will be released? I know that was something that was listed on we're working on. Is that right, Andrew?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We are working on it. It's been in the queue for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I have yet to design it. So that's on me. I apologize. Yep, my bad.
You can always do tiered ones at the end of the day. I mean, you can still, yeah, make it work. But
Yep, it is nicer to be able to do that. Alex was like,
that's
"Oh yeah, I know how to do that. It's really easy. We'll just do this." And I'm like, "Okay, well, if you know how to do it, then maybe you can just do it." He's like, "Well, I actually really need to design." And I was like, "All right, I got this." Yep. Oh,
that's awesome.
uh, this is the fun entry level to like how we develop as a team. So super cool.
And Zakari, great question. Yes, when Andrew was talking about selling themes, he meant, for example, right, you could design a like banking app template or something, or even like a some sort of theme that you've built out with all the components and other things. Think about it as you even expand further, right? If you wanted to provide other resources, so you could build out a Figma file which matches your Flutterflow file and sell those two together, right?
Yeah.
Provide that as a resource. There's a bunch of different ways. Is this Figma? No, this is Flutterflow, right? So this is the powerful visual builder for Flutter responsive applications. You can build for iOS, Android, web, Mac OS, all with this stunning drag and drop builder. But you can also build on top of everything you're seeing here with custom Flutter and Dart code. And you can also export it at any point in time to get the full repository, the full project code. So an extremely powerful tool that Andrew's building with right now.
And this is just, it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and drag in.
Andrew has designed his personal Figma, which actually publishes the apps to the App Store versus just providing snippets of code, right? That's the dream.
That is sort of that's sort of how this all happened. Yeah. Yeah, very, very true. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So here we have another input style, right? We have sort of a gray text here, an icon. So what if we, let's say we were going to expand that throughout, right? We had that in multiple places. So I could edit that text field itself, but let's just go ahead and duplicate it. And we'll say default text field icon. And that way we can just come down here, go to icon properties. We'll do a leading icon. And we have this little search guy. So let's do secondary text. It's way too big. We need to improve like the spacing around here, but anyways, that's for another time. Uh, oh, dude, we also have a really sick new widget dropping. Like a sick widget. Okay, I'll showcase it because like, dude, we just they slayed, as we say, right? Is that what the kids say these days? They slayed. Okay, this does not have to do with the design, but I do want to show this off because I'll just do it in theme widgets. That's what I'll do. Okay, we have drop down. Got this. Have this little guy. We'll do the same. We'll style it basically the same as our input. Do option
I'm
2.
interested to see what this new widget is. Maybe I've missed something and I'm not
Oh,
aware.
oh, you have. You have. Uh, it's not dropped yet. I mean, if you build in beta, you would know, but like, okay, cool. Um, searchable is searchable. Let's just toggle that on. Let's just toggle it on for the heck of it, right? Search for an item.
Ah, okay. I thought you were saying an entirely new widget.
I mean, it basically is, right? Like you can
No,
do like
that's crazy. Nice, a
like
searchable dropdown. That's been
yeah,
highly requested. So
highly requested. Super cool. Just absolutely, yeah, just love it. So let's go ahead and do down. I'll just show it to you in action as well. So
nice.
I think it works in preview. So we should be good. Okay. Around the search page. Let's go ahead and remove that.
Here's a here's a fun question, Andrew. Think you
Yeah.
guys could build something in to handle the safe area colors of the navbar and app bar? Well, I think that's been a discussion of the team, right? That like on web view, when you look it up on your phone, it's that blue kind of area there. Is I think that might be what they're talking about. Have we? I think
Yeah.
we've had that discussion to change that, but it is somewhat complex. Or am
Yeah.
I mistaken there?
No. We did just have that conversation.
Yeah.
So here you can search
Whoa, nice.
the
Wow,
drop
that looks
downs,
fantastic.
right?
That's
Not
fantastic.
bad. Not bad. This is going to be superb for uh, drop downs with so many options, right? Like there was an app the Claire team was working on, and I was like, dude, I don't want to touch it. And they had these options. They were like, well, we have to build a custom widget and then have to like bring in all this stuff. And it was so difficult. And now you can just do it. So I
Nice,
like that. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Let's see where it
nice.
was. I'll remove that now. I think that's like one of the bigger sort of widget improvements that we're releasing this week. But it
Nice.
is a really cool one. So sorry, I'll continue. I'll just go back into grid view. Let's just drag a grid view in. There's a great tutorial on grid views from our dear friend, John, who sometimes will jump in and join us in the comment section. I don't know if he's present today, but do that. Cool.
Yeah, he released a great video. Just posted on our Twitter and other socials this morning. He basically builds some of the popular grid views that are available across different mobile applications you might be familiar with, such as Instagram or Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, excuse me. And yeah, so definitely check that out. It's a great video, and I know he had a lot of fun designing that and talking about how easy it was to quickly build these pages out.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. So we actually don't need. Let's go ahead and remove that. We don't need all this padding on this grid view because grid view actually does padding. Let's remove it all. Ooh. Let's add padding to the parent container, right? That's smarter. And we'll just let these sit.
Another quick question, guys. I may be missing something, but now we'll be able to create a parent component, copy it, and override content in child components, just like Figma, correct? Yes, they're not components though in this case.
Yep.
So different terminology in terms of Flutterflow. They're just going to be customized widgets or widget.
Yep.
What's the official term there,
Yeah.
Andrew?
Yeah. Customized widgets. I use Element because
Customized.
it's like a little like it's more designy, but I was just talking to Yeah, I was just talking to some developers who were onboarding. We're onboarding like a bunch of agencies on Flutterflow, and they were like, you know
Nice.
what? I love Flutterflow because it uses development language. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. I would, I was going to suggest like we not use this type of language, because it's like it's not, it doesn't expand to other realms, but they loved it. They're like infinity. That's like
Yeah,
what we use in code. I was like,
that's so funny.
yeah. So, yeah, let's go ahead and
Nice.
adjust this. So yeah, it is
We
really
are
really
working.
cool.
Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
Oh, dude, I was just lasting. You're fine.
Yeah, there was a question or just a statement that someone said. John's videos on Firebase authentication were super. I'm going to continue that and let everybody know we do recognize that some of the older Flutterflow YouTube videos, might be outdated with current Flutterflow editor and things like that. They are about 1 year old, and given we release new updates weekly or bi-weekly, which is unbelievable, we are working on redoing a lot of those initial tutorial videos. So hopefully you'll see if you're a new Flutterflow user, you'll be more comfortable using the visual builder, but also that'll be exciting for any of the people you potentially refer to using Flutterflow as well.
Yep. So true. Cool. Got a little component. Because I hope this is beneficial to you. I guess I'm not privy to like the chat, but I hope this helps. Yeah. I'm gonna utilize some of these. So we have new templates. See, you can utilize all of these actually in the builder as well. But I'm going to create an actual component. Let's see, material. We have material components here. Pretty nice. I'm going to use this one as my base. I'm going to say access camera modal. And then look at that. So we utilize my theme, but we have some broken stuff here. So let's just go ahead and do button small and button small here. We can add 16 pixels padding here. There, we can center align these. Let's say it's like that. We will create this to be bottom medium. And let's center align it. Copy and paste that so that we can do that.
Andrew, here's a good use case question. And I think we've seen this time and time again when it comes to responsive design. So this person said, I wish we could change the number of columns depending on the screen size. And so I think there are a few different solutions. You could just have multiple grid views and display and hide those. Just a note, your queries, if they're not displayed, they won't occur. So, you're not triple querying if you have a grid view for mobile, tablet, and web. So that's good. Andrew, what other suggestions do you have there? I think maybe you could use the wrap widget with more
Yep.
uh,
I would
specific widths. But
I would actually suggest watching a few, man, it was probably like 3, 4 weeks ago. We did responsive design within this live stream, and I sort
nice.
of go over um, some different ways that you can hack it together, where you can make something pretty robust responsively, and you can actually adjust utilizing wrap, the wrap widget. I had a speech impediment when I was a kid, and I just sort of grew up with it. Okay, just never grew out of it. So please forgive me. The wrap widget, uh, and you can utilize set like max width on containers, and you can set them from variable. So very cool. Gives you sort of the ability to have containers in a wrap, and if it's like a desktop view, you can set that max width to 700 pixels, and on mobile you could
Nice.
set it to 400 pixels, right, or 1200 pixels, right? So in a wrap, if you set it to 700 in a desktop view, right, it would be maybe a column. On a tablet, maybe you want it to take up the full width, so you set it to like 12, and then it'll expand and it'll go to 1. So if we do have that within a live stream. I think it says responsive design or something. Um,
Yeah.
that's a really beneficial one. We also have more responsive building in previous live streams as well. So yeah, there's a number of ways to do this or to do that. And again, we're going to improve responsive at some point in time. It's just since you sort of can do those things, it gets pushed back. But please ask for responsive updates. Okay, go up to your feedback modal, right? Just spam our dev team with "I want to build responsive apps," and you'll get those things. So they listen to we listen to our users really well. Okay, don't put me on blast. Because we didn't like do one thing for you or something, but yeah, good times. All right, let's go here, set this little guy for bottom sheet. Oh, we actually do have another really cool feature um, that's coming up. We have like an on initiation, right? So like on init is the technical term, I guess, but on initialization, um, which from my understanding is really cool. Again, I'm not a developer, so I can't tell.
That was a massive ask for specifically setting component
Yeah.
states.
Yep.
There was a ton of asks for that because a bunch of people said that that was a barrier to the way they were developing their application. So that's a good thing. Um, yeah. The other one, Zakari actually asked for this, but I know he had to leave. Um, or didn't ask for this specifically, but had a question about it. The text inputs were also adding something in action, right, to set text field values. Because originally you couldn't update those on the page the way the text inputs were initialized or the text areas. And so now there's an action to update those, which is really exciting too, because
Okay.
now if you're filling out a form or doing some, a lot of like business focused applications, right? You're probably filling out some form or whatever it may be. And the ability to change what's in a input field live on the page is really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet. Um, well, yeah, guys. I mean, I hope that a lot of this was helpful. Um, I'll
Nice.
build this little profile page and then I'll sort of call it done. We have about 3 minutes, so um, oh, I'm
Yeah, I
sorry,
can answer
dude. Yeah,
any
I
other
mean,
questions here. Yeah.
yeah, Pradeep. Sorry, man. Yeah, at some point we'll remove this job completely of me just importing, like me building stuff into Flutterflow. But currently, it's not that hard, right? This is a whole again, it's a whole job. It's a front end development, right? This is front end development. So to import from Figma to Flutterflow will be possible in the future. I mean, it will be, right? But just trying to help you
Yeah.
build and design from Figma to Flutterflow in a traditional development cycle, right? This is a very common structure where you hand off designs to a developer, or you get designs from a designer and you implement them into Flutterflow. So
Nice. Yeah, another question, AI Gen. We've had a lot of asks about that, when that's coming out, all of, all the information there. We are beginning a slow rollout to select users to gather feedback, make sure, we can optimize it in the best way possible. Because at the end of the day, when we release that to everyone, we want to make sure it's in a good spot and it's truly valuable. It's not just a gimmicky kind of tool.
yeah,
And Andrew's been working really hard on that on his side with the designs and training it with a lot of stunning designs. So hopefully that you'll see that when that's released publicly, or you see other people posting about it.
yeah, and two notes on that. One, we're sort of limited by, um, yeah, we're sort of limited by some of the GPT-4 rate limits and quotas. So we are releasing it in a small batch to like some creators and stuff. But yeah, there's just like there is some limitation there, right? We have so many users. I mean, dude, I mean, you could say this. Our user group is like through the roof, right? We have like 20,000 people a day, like just building, that's wild to me. It's wild. It is absolutely incredible. We're really thankful. But if we released it to everybody, like we would just blast that thing and it wouldn't work. So we don't want that. We did do a demo during our meeting on Monday, and I was actually impressed with the result that it showed. Like, and I'm not saying that as like hype up the gimmick. No, like I don't want it to take away my job, but I was impressed. And it was very Andrew-esque. I mean, I will say, it did look like some of the samples we gave it, but it was really good. It was really good. So yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, thanks everybody for joining this morning. We really appreciate it. Really excited to launch Theme V2, or maybe what is this? V3,
Yeah. No,
V4?
V2 is what it is.
V2.
Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, Andrew, I'll let you take it away. Anything you want to add regarding the theme settings or things? But yeah, thanks everybody again.
Yeah. No, thank you guys for joining. We really appreciate it. I mean, we had some really good engagement. I hope, again, like I hope this was beneficial. Please reach out to us if you would like to see us do certain things within this live stream. I
Andrew, it looks like we lost you there. Your audio.
Hey, that's because
There we go. We can hear you
I
now.
pressed mute. I pressed mute for some reason. The Lord knew I needed to.
Hopefully, we got value out of live stream, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thanks so much for joining. We'll see you guys next week. We'll go over some cool stuff. So let us know if you guys want us to cover something specific. We can do another one on responsive design. Um, we can do another one on components and stuff. We will have, at some point, we'll have a developer or somebody from Firebase join us. I think we're going to try to get some more team members in here as well. But please, this should be released again, I hope later today or tomorrow. And you should have it this week. Play around with it. Send us your questions. We want to know. So we want to see what you guys build. Thank you all so much.